Pay, get paid.
Hey guys, good evening. How you guys doing? Give me a second here. Let me turn this down. Hey, having to change up the music from time to time, unfortunately, due to copyright concerns. Still waiting on that rap artist to drop me some bars for my intro song. I was offered a song. I could make one. I'd just have to pay for it, and I'd rather not. So with that being said, thank you guys for being here. I'm trying to fix my setup. Yes, we got a different background. We got a different look here. It's Friday night. So first thing I want to say is thank you guys for being here. If you're watching this live, if you're on TikTok, if you're on YouTube, I appreciate you guys being here. Give me a second. I thank you guys for being here, but remember, tomorrow, the most important thing going on in my life is tomorrow is UFC. We have our fight night here on Patreon. We have all the picks. Shout out to the MVPs out there. I've given up the whole final card. I already gave out all my picks for the final card. Gave out my daily fantasy advice. So if you're in a state where you can't gamble, that's okay. You can still do daily fantasy on FanDuel in certain states. I live in Georgia. I can do daily fantasy, no problem. You just pick the lineups. You pick 6 fighters. They give you a salary. It's kind of like fantasy football, but it's fantasy fighting just for that one night, just for the fight card. Pretty interesting stuff. So I'm giving advice on that in that video right there. 18 minutes breaking down every single pick. By the way, I have posted a video for every single fight. We do this every week. If you guys didn't know, the record in the UFC is far better than that of college football. When I picked college football, it was over 400 games against the spread, and I finished at about 60%. And that's pretty remarkable in the gambling world. You can do better. You can avoid some of the bets, and you'd be right. But 60% is pretty damn good. You want to talk to me about the UFC? You want to talk about my picks in the UFC? My locks are at 79.75%, and that's over 100 locks at this point since 2024 started. My picks on the fights are over 66%, and that's every single fight. I pick every fight. You don't have to bet every fight, but I pick them. And you can do better. MVPs are eating. We're 10-0 on our last 10 locks. I'm not joking. 10-0 on our last 10 locks. MVPs are turning money into more money. It's what they do. And I just want to give them a big shout out because we're on the Discord server. Don't bother showing up unless you're an MVP. But what they do is they have a wins channel here. And they show you some of their work. And some of their work is like this. This man right here, you see it. Islam Makhachev had a submission. I don't know if you guys can see it. I don't know if I can make it grow any bigger. Pause. Let me save this image. I hit save. Let me see if I can open that image for you guys. You guys can see what this man did last week. Give me a second here. I think it just came under save pictures. Nope. Maybe downloads. Hey man, I'm new to this. I'm working it out. Let me show you guys this picture. Let me show you this picture from an MVP who turned $40 into $1,200. That's right. That's what they're doing on MVP. $40 into $1,200. The man bet $40 last Saturday, took my picks and turned it into $1,200. And he ain't the biggest winner. He's just another dude. Just another guy. Jag, just another guy. Shout out to the MVPs. You guys have changed my life for believing in me, but I'm trying to change some of your lives. I'm trying to tell some of you how we get down. We watch UFC fights on something called the stage right here. 300 people get to show up. 300 people get to show up to the stage, and we talk. And you can see it here. Turning, what is this bet? 100 into 500. This is what they're doing. This is not a game. Not an infomercial. We ain't lying about shit. It's here. It's in black and white, bro. Turning $30 into $211. It's in 4K. Apologize. When I'm telling you, these MVPs, when we hit, man, they start screaming. They start just chanting. Look at how much talk we chat. This is how much we put in the chat for one night. For one night. Makhachev by decision. He lost his ass. Don't listen to that guy. No one told him to do that. We said Makhachev by submission. How about this one right here? Getting your money back in blood. Got my shit back in blood. That's what Nomo said. Full Diddy, bro. Homie went $2,000. Made $2,000 into $5,200. Could you imagine? This is better than the stock market. Can you imagine what these guys were doing last Saturday? Who was dancing in the street? Homie bet 100 to win 216. Bet another 100 to win 217. That means he turned 200 into 431, 433. These guys are incredible. The MVPs know what they're doing. And they're all on each other's tip. They're all helping each other out. This man right here said cash out. I said, no, don't cash out, buddy. Hang in there. Get your 500. And this is every single Saturday. We're excited about Saturday. I'm just letting you know now. Shout out to the MVPs. Shout out. Oh, by the way, if you get on the Patreon, you will see me break down every single team in America. You will see me break down every single team. And I'm telling you how many games they're going to win, and we don't miss. There's a whole chart of every single team I'm picking. Okay? So I'm just letting you guys know, if we go up here to collections and we click on futures bets, I've made 59 videos for next season. It's already out there. All you got to do is become an MVP. You will see how many games these teams are going to win. This shouldn't be. Oh, that's here. That's fine. I haven't even read this message yet from Sultan Aswat. He says, what's funny is, being that I cover them, I think I was one of the few who was cautiously optimistic, but I was on board with Arnett not being up to it. I'd argue that Arizona game was the best game they played. Oh, he's talking about last season. He's a Michigan State guy. He's a media guy for Michigan State. But I've already done every single team. Hey, Rico, how many games is this team going to win? They're all here, bro. Who's going to win the Heisman? It's all here. How many games is this so-and-so going to win? I've already done the work. Every one of these videos you guys have never seen, 15, 13, 9. I'm talking about minutes long. A deep dive on Northwestern, 16 minutes. And because of this, I'm telling you how many games they're going to win. You can go bet on a futures bet right now and get all your money at the end of the football season like a tax return. Get all your money back after we hit all those bets. Go put $100 on everything I said. Like a tax return. I'm just letting you know. Shout out to the MVPs on Patreon. If you want to get there, all you have to do, go to Patreon, search RicoKnows. Rico, I don't know what Patreon is. Download the app. It's just like Twitter. It's just like YouTube. It's like OnlyFans. I don't know, man. I read all the earnings. These OnlyFans models, they're making millions. I'm just saying, they're making hundreds of thousands of dollars a month. And I never met a dude claiming he knows what OnlyFans is. I never met one person with an account. They're making all this money off of nobody. Nobody has an account. Nobody knows how to get the app. But here's Patreon. Same app, same concept. Let's go. So, what's the theme of today's show? Well, the theme of today's show is pretty simple. I'm going to have to find the picture. Give me a second here. I might have minimized it, but let me tell you guys what's going on. I'm actually going to there it is. I'm actually going to go to a different landscape here. Give me a second, a different scene. You got to remember which one I'm using. Here we go. So I wanted to do this because I wanted to keep the grades at the forefront of your mind. So I'm always on Twitter. The last 2 days I've been doing UFC content. Been looking up the fighters, doing all my research. It's what I do. I do it on live. If you've ever watched me on TikTok, none of my content creation goes on TikTok anymore. I don't care about TikTok. So if you want to watch my videos, they're going to be on Patreon or YouTube. TikTok is throwaway content. High school film reviews for sure, but it's just throwaway videos. If you want to learn about the transfer portal, about deep, hidden gems or what's going to happen next year, you got to watch the YouTube. You got to watch the Patreon. That's where all the info is going to be. I'm not messing with TikTok. A lot of this has to do with TikTok changed their pay structure. They went from paying us $6,000, $7,000, $8,000 a month to $600, $700, $800 a month. It's ridiculous. They cut into it, and now they want me to sell shit. They want me to be a salesman and put ads out. Not doing that. So I'm just not. I don't care. Just sitting there. I'll post a video on there. I'll be on live, and that's all I'll ever use it for. Don't care. So I'm on Twitter though. I'm on Twitter. Shout out to Twitter. Just started on Twitter this year. Interacting with people, talking with coaches, getting players signed, getting players on scholarships and whatnot. And it's pretty exciting stuff. In about 2 weeks, I will be at the 5-star Next Gen Camp I'll be a scout and a coach at the Next Gen Camp looking at the best players from 2026 and 2027 graduating class, high school players. So all the freshmen, soon to be incoming sophomores and juniors. And shout out to them for recognizing me, picking me out of the crowd and saying, yo, Rico, we think you should be a part of our camp and come out. So I'm pretty excited about that. I'll be out there ready to meet some of the players. Some of the players have written me in DMs. Well, while I'm on Twitter, though, I come across these bullshit posts. Guys, before I was ever on Twitter, I never saw this stuff. I now know where everybody gets their piss poor information. I now know where all these casual fans write me in comments, all these kids, all these high schoolers, early 20 kids, or even younger. And they're like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. So-and-so's amazing. And I'll just be like, what are you talking? What is this shit? On TikTok, I get these videos. It'll say to me, you posted this a year ago. And then I'll watch it and I'll go, oh, I was spot on a year ago on everybody. You just weren't watching. Spot on everybody. Transfer portal galore. Go watch all the videos on the transfer portal. I was right about everybody. I might have missed on 3 guys. Graham Mertz, and pick 2 others. I'm letting you know. And when you're doing an assessment on thousands of players, it doesn't hurt to bat 99. If I'm batting 90%, that means I missed 100 times. If you can find 100 misses, good luck. But let me tell you what I did find. Last year, if you go to TikTok and you search hashtag rivals, hashtag RicoKnows, and you look around a little bit, you're going to find a video where I ripped apart Rivals. I found 60 errors on their website in 3 minutes. I think I did the same thing with 24/7 Sports, and I spared On3, because On3 is even worse than all of them. On3 is worse than all of them. Okay? On3 has the most errors of any website. Rivals is just piss poor, but On3 has the most errors. The most misinformation. They just have, they blatantly don't know where people are. They'll say someone's in the transfer portal. They're not. They'll say someone hasn't signed somewhere. They have. It's just nuts. And they don't care. They don't want to be accurate. They don't want to be right. At least 24/7 tries, but I found errors there too. It's everywhere. Okay? But Rivals, I don't watch their stuff. Now, shout out to them. They do reach out to me. I have talked to Rivals. They're the only recruiting website outside of individual writers from 24/7 reaching out to me. So 24/7 has writers that are regionally associated with them. Those writers reach out to me all the time. Cool, whatever. Rivals, the company, reaches out to me. That's a little different because there's no such thing. 24/7 Sports has not talked to me. But writers who work for 24/7 Sports write to me. Rivals, the company, talks to me. They rock with me. And they even wrote me a message and said, Rico, stop ripping us. We're the only recruiting website that rocks with you, bro. And I was just laughing. Can't wait to meet all these dudes at a camp. Can't wait to meet all these people in face-to-face so I can put their feet to the fire and see how fake they are because they don't really know these players. So they don't even put a name to this. You see this graphic right here? Usually you will see, it'll say, according to so-and-so. I'll get a name that I can call out. I'll get a writer's name who came up with these grades. But right here, it just has Rivals with a Yahoo and some grades. And it says transfer portal grades for the ACC spring transfer portal cycle. Specifically, the spring. Now, when I'm looking at this, I have to say to myself, first and foremost, they're just trying to make the ACC look terrible. Because when they gave grades to every single conference, they gave decent enough grades to others. To other conferences and teams. You get to the ACC and they handed out 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 D's. 8 D's. Big D's. Right? 8 D's. That's crazy, bro. 8D, that's nuts. And they didn't do that in the other conferences. So I'm a little pissed off by all of it. So I'm going to go through the transfer portal, spring portal. I'm only going to be looking for spring players. I'm going to talk to you about it, and then I'm going to assess each team and their grade, if you will. Their grade, if you will. Okay, let's remember one thing, though. In the spring, nobody did better than Miami. So if Miami is the A-plus standard, and if Miami got an A-plus, everybody else is being compared to that A-plus standard. With that being said, nobody did worse than Clemson because they don't sign anybody. Okay? So if you're giving Clemson a D and they don't sign anyone, and you're giving other teams a D and they do sign people, it doesn't make sense. How do we all have the same grade? This is a team that doesn't use the transfer portal. You could put NA here, but I'm assuming the grade is based upon their departures. And if that's the case, well, I got news for them. Not all departures are bad departures. Some of these coaches need attrition. Some of these coaches need to clear up spots on their roster. They're using the transfer portal to dump their recruiting misses, the guys who didn't pan out, the academic casualties. They're using the transfer portal to dump guys because they got to keep it at 85, bro. The NCAA just gave everybody another year of eligibility. If you were once suspended and if you were ever deemed ineligible, you get another year. Excuse me. Before I get into this, I'm going to go on the chat, and then we're going to do this. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and then 8, 17 teams. So I'm going to do 3 or 4 teams at a time. Go to the chat. 3 or 4 teams at a time. Go to the chat. That means if you got a question, put it in the chat right now. Get it going. Get it popping. If you got a question on TikTok and you want to join the conversation, please go to YouTube. Join it. RicoKnows. I'm live right now. Hey, I want to talk to you guys. I just don't take comments from TikTok while I'm doing the show because the comments come and go and they keep scrolling. At least on YouTube, I can see the comments. You feel me? Hey, thank you so much, Raymundo, for the likes, bro. All right, so I'm going to go to chat real quick. Rosencrantz Bori TV says, my guy, Rico, and gave me it was a circle. It was like, yo, what's up? Cool. Like I'm perfect. Perfecto. I like it. Let's go, Brandon. What up, Willie Bobo? He's out here repping for Let's Go, Brandon. Shout out to him. I don't know who Brandon is, but let's rock it. I like Brandon. I like NASCAR. It all goes together. Derek H says, yo, mama, full of drama. Somebody call Osama. Mike Schmidt says, interesting segment. Hey, Mike Schmidt is back. If you guys don't know, Mike Schmidt is a day one member of this channel. Mike Schmidt comes to every live stream, and he proclaims falsely that something was said on the Herd Show today. So when you read it, he starts every single comment this way. Number one, it's not going to be true. And number two, Cowherd, nobody said this. That's Mike Schmidt's stick. Okay, so if you don't know Mike Schmidt, welcome to the family. He's part of the channel. It's what we do. We have regulars here. They have their own little niche. Willie Bobo comes in and yells out, let's go, Brandon. I got one dude telling me, roll tide roll. Shout out to my boy. We got everybody in here. It is what it is. Mike Schmidt says, interesting segment on the Herd today. Colin Cowherd says Riley Leonard will not be the starting quarterback at Notre Dame due to a porn addiction. Well, I don't know if it's the same addiction Xavier Howard has, but he's sending videos to every baby mama he's got, which is cool until you start sending it to the kids. I can't get down with that. Okay? Riley Leonard is great. I hope he's injury free, and I hope he does start. But if he doesn't, there's another good quarterback at Notre Dame. Don't get it twisted. They're not going to be hurting. Mr. Redskins 562 says 60% is damn good. You know, Mr. Redskins, 60% against the spread is absolutely remarkable. But I want to tell you what we didn't include in there were the prop bets and the parlays. And we had a shit ton of prop bets and parlays that worked out for us. So, you know, there's people out there who do things like prize picks and can't do the spread picks. We knocked it out the park with those. Okay? I keep saying we, it's me. I'm so grateful. I know during the bowl season we really hit our stride, and I think I picked bowl games and championship games at 60-something%. I can't pull it up right now because I don't want the fight card to pop up on the screen, and I think it's going to pop up in this area if I were to click on it. But we've done really well. Thank you so much for recognizing a game, recognized game. Bridger Linder says, do you know Zion Fanua? If so, what are your thoughts on his game? I don't know Zion. I have no thoughts on his game. Thank you for asking. I'll look into it. Yo, Rico, I F with your content. Hey. Cool. Thank you. I F with your support. Question, does Mahomes have potential of reaching Brady? I mean, I don't think it's realistic. I don't think it's realistic for anybody to be labeled Tom Brady or the next Brady. And in the history of the NFL's 100 years, there's only been one Tom Brady. And now the expectation is there's going to be two, and they're back-to-back and just so happen to have played against each other. Like, that just doesn't make sense to me. It doesn't. You know what I'm saying? So just leave it alone. David in Arizona. Hey, Rico, good to see you again. Shout out to Couch Potato Body, folks, and Body by Jake. You know what's up. I was told I have a couch potato body by somebody I couldn't see, and you guys can see me every single day. If you scroll back far enough, you'll see me dancing. If you scroll back far enough, you'll see me working out. If I got a couch potato body, I'm nervous for some of you guys. E-Money, what up, E-Money? I've known E-Money for about 35 years. Shout out to E-Money. What up, Willie Bobo? Does SMU actively equate to a win against FSU in Dallas this season? Activity equate. I apologize. I really like SMU. But if you're asking me if they're going to beat Florida State at home this season, that is an MVP level question. Walter Burke, I already have a video on that, and I will not give that away for free. People pay me for that information. I won't give that away for free. But thank you for asking. If you become an MVP, you can go find the video on SMU's win prediction totals and Florida State's win prediction totals. Put the two videos together, figure it out. It's already been made. It's already been done. But thank you for the question. All ACC projections have been done. You love these. What up, Connor? Hey, Connor ain't playing. Connor's watched everything. Connor's watched everything I've ever made in my life. I swear Connor's one of those people who consumes all the content. Shout out to Connor. Fear Metro says, what up, Reek? It's Step Back 21. Let's go. Q's. I believe Step Back's an annual MVP member. By the way, if you want to be an MVP, yes, it's $25 a month on Patreon and YouTube, but you can go to Patreon and get an annual subscription, and it's 2 free months. So you're only paying for 10 months. It's 15% off. So I highly recommend it. We do have 15 annual members right now. By the way, we have thousands of MVPs during the football season. Thousands. You will be one of thousands of people. I think at our peak we were over 2,000. It's real. Thanks for being here. Love these. What up, Reek? Yup. I'm eating Bob's Twin Kitchen tonight. Damn, don't remind me. After the show, I'm going to go grab something to eat. Rico, which defensive line in the ACC has the most upside from the transfer portal? I don't know about upside from the transfer portal. I can tell you right now, my favorite defensive line in the entire conference is Virginia Tech. That's right now knee-jerk reaction. Oh, no. Clemson and then Virginia Tech. I apologize. Clemson's my favorite, then Virginia Tech, then Florida State. When it comes to defensive line specifically, those three really stick out to me. Who improved the most through the transfer portal? I'd have to sit down and really assess. I don't want to give you a knee-jerk. I don't want to be wrong and then, oh, yeah, I forgot somebody. I don't want to do that. But we'll see as I go through it. We'll talk about the spring only. Remember, I'm not talking about winter transfer portal players. I've already done that at length in other videos. So we're going to just focus on the spring additions and departures during this show. Rico, I've been an MVP. I can vouch that we did very well in college football games during live streams. Hey, very true. On live streams just like this. By the way, every Saturday not just every Saturday. Every weekday game, I live stream. Every Saturday, I live stream. And I live stream every single day of the week, college football games, and we will talk about your live bets, your prop bets, all your stuff every single week and every single day. I think one time we had 45 days in a row of football. I didn't get a single day off for 45 days. I don't take any time off during the football season, but it was 45 days of live streaming in a row. MVPs making money every day. Shout out to Derek Newcomer. He is telling the truth. I really like him. I really do watch everything. Shout out to you, Connor. Yo, all right, let's go. Let's start talking about these teams. So the first team out there, the grades are below me, so I can make reference to them. But remember, I don't like On3, but they have a really good format for looking at transfers coming in and transfers going out. It's not always accurate, but it's a good format. So first thing's this. Boston College got a D. A D for David. And if you look, their transfers coming in the spring, they signed no one this spring, so it makes sense. Who do they lose this spring? They lost one of their best receivers in Joseph Griffin Jr. Now, losing Joseph Griffin Jr. in the spring and Emmett Morehead. Emmett Morehead was obviously a backup quarterback. He's headed to ODU. I don't think he'll start at ODU, but he's going there to compete. That's fine. And then you have Joseph Griffin Jr. or Joe going to Wisconsin. Very good wide receiver. Been a starter from day one in the rotation. 6'4", 200 pounds. Very good wide receiver. Probably hurts to lose him. But if you were paying attention in the winter, the wide receivers they gained make it okay. These are 400- 500-yard wide receivers. These are guys with production coming in from Vanderbilt and Texas Tech. Both of them very good. So if the new coaching staff brought these guys in and you're going to go out and get yourself paid, you can do it. It looks like Boston College deserves the D, though. Oh, no pause. Because you did lose one of your starting wide receivers and you gained nothing in the spring. So it makes sense that if we were saying a C is maintaining what you had and a D means you lost something, it feels very Clemson-esque. You lost some players and gained nothing. So that's fine. Boston College got a D. Cal gets a B, and we're going to talk about it. I don't know how you give Cal a B. If you're going to give Cal a B, fine. But I'm telling you, in the spring, Cal added a ton of players. It happened last year, too. It's like they get this money, this influx of money, and they're told, all right, go get your players now. It doesn't happen in the winter. It happens in the spring. It's got to be some type of NIL endowment of some sort, and it kicks in every single spring. Cal is going to clean house in the transfer portal. They're gonna make it happen, and they're gonna beat out other teams for players you never thought they were gonna get. That's what happened last year with Patrick Morris coming out of San Diego State. That's what happened this year with some of these young recruits that were 4-stars coming out of high school, and then obviously the recruiting websites knocked them down a star because they're no longer going to those perennial powers. Let's just call it what it is, all right? But if you start at the very bottom, Braden Miller only played in like one game for Michigan State this year, and it was in junk time in a blowout. He's a recruit. He's 6'7", 290 pounds, big guy, but he's still really young. He's got time to develop. It's just a depth piece, if you will, a young recruit. Not a problem. Another thing, it's hard to get players to qualify for Stanford and Cal academically. So your transfers are going to be a different caliber somewhat. Cal does lower their standard a little bit more than Stanford. Stanford already said it. Stanford, up until last year, had only allowed one undergraduate transfer in the history of the school. Stanford just said, we don't care. We don't care about football like that, bro. You don't get to transfer to this school as an athlete unless you're a graduate transfer. So then Stanford had to go out and find only Ivy League transfers. They're getting transfers from the Ivy League. They're getting Colgate and Harvard and Cornell and all that. You're getting all this other shit. They're not getting what they need. Well, they kind of loosened the reins a little bit. They realized, hey, if we want to be competitive, that's why David Shaw retired. If we want to be competitive, we got to let some transfers in. Cal has not had this problem. Cal's letting dudes in. So Corey Dykes is the next guy that came in this spring. Corey Dykes is, for me, an A-plus transfer signing. Okay, he and Andrews at tight end, it makes a two-headed monster you can't deal with. Dykes has been the starting tight end at Maryland for the last 2 years now. The year before, he made C.J. Dippre transfer to Alabama. This year, he decided, I'm going to dip, no pun intended, and I'm going to ride and go get paid. So you're leaving Maryland, you're going to Cal, where they use tight ends. Now they got two of them. He is elite. He's a receiving tight end. He's about 220. Don't believe this weight here at 190. He's a much bigger guy, very nimble, just your prototypical NFL pass-catching tight end. So I like Corey Dykes a lot. I think it's a good signing. TJ Bowlers, a highly rated recruit coming out of high school, 4 stars, going to Wisconsin, did not pan out at Wisconsin, has not really seen the field all that much over the last 2-3 years, and getting a new coaching staff in there, they get different linebackers. You're not in the rotation anymore. You're not part of it, but instead of just going to Iowa State, this man went all the way to Cal. Hopefully he can play at this level. I don't know. I don't know if it's an upgrade. I don't know if he's in the rotation. We'll find out. Josiah Wagner, just a young kid, 2023, went to Oklahoma, lifted weights at Oklahoma for a year, redshirted, and now he's here. Former 4-star. You're going to see these 4-star kids all got 3 stars as soon as they went to Cal. They're 4-star players. When they signed, they made those recruiting classes ranked really, really high. But the minute they signed to Cal, we're giving them a B. Rivals, you gave these teams A's when they signed these kids a year ago. What's happened in the last 12 months? They didn't get worse. 12 months passed. They didn't get worse. They lifted weights, got bigger, stronger, faster, even smarter. And the rankings go down. It's bullshit. Ryan Yates did see the field a little bit for LSU. Highly recruited guy out of Denver High School. Just a stud-ass place to be, Geyer. Shout out to Jackson Arnold in Oklahoma. Just dominant, okay? And Bowen at safety. So Yates is the other safety there. Complete stud. 4 stars. Knocking him down to 3. Bullshit. Looks good on tape. I think this is a good signing. Hopefully he gets in the rotation. Grays. Kyon Grays going to Ohio State initially. Now he's coming back to the West Coast. He's out of Chandler. He's an Arizona kid. His tape looks like a natural pass catcher, but he looks like Mikey Matthews. And Mikey Matthews transferred from Utah to Cal in the winter. I like the transfer, bro. I like the transfer. What I don't like is you were a 94 rating, and they intentionally knock you down to be a 3-star. This is a 90. They knock you down to be a 3-star. This is a 90. They knock you down to be a 3-star. They gave all these guys 88s. I don't know how you lose 6 points. You lose 2, I get it. You lose 2, sure. 6 doesn't make sense. It's just a desire to make the transfers 3 stars. That's Rivals. That's On 3. They're notorious for this. It's bullshit. How do you lose it? How do you lose those 3 stars? And then you got Tonkara, Sergin Tonkara, another recruit. He's a little short for an edge rusher, but he's just a recruit. Went to Missouri for a year, lifted weights, never saw the field. C.J. Harris, I don't know how he got improved by 4 points. We saw C.J. Harris play last year. He was Rourke's backup at Ohio. Rourke goes down with an injury. C.J. Harris comes in the game. He can't play football. C.J. Harris is not a good quarterback. In the MAC, looked terrible. And now he's transferred in the spring, late in the spring, to come to Cal. I don't know what's going on. Either Cal thought they were going to lose one of their quarterbacks, or they needed a 4th-string quarterback, because they got 3 guys better than him. It's a terrible transfer by C.J. Harris. Cal themselves, more power to them, they just got to make their 85 better than it's ever been, right? So you go and sign players that improve your 85. I'm not mad at Cal, but the player himself, terrible transfer. Unless you want a Cal Berkeley degree. But this is a terrible transfer. You're not ever going to play. Your career is over. I'm letting you know right now. C.J. Harris, never seen the field. Never. Chika Fall, I'm going to tell you that he's not 6'4", 220. He's like 6'4", 250. I went and watched tape on him, East Kentucky. So Eastern Kentucky played against Kentucky. I watched that game. And then I watched another 2 or 3 games. I was looking at a receiver. Receiver transfer to UTEP. Good kid, Jeremiah Smith. I think Jeremiah Smith. Not Jeremiah Smith. Jaden Smith. Either way, UTEP wide receiver. I start watching for Fall. Go back, watch all the tape. I'm looking for a 6'4", 220 linebacker. I see a 6'4", 250 linebacker. But unfortunately, he wasn't like leading. If you're at the FCS level, you should be leading tackles and everything and all that. He wasn't doing any of that shit. He wasn't doing none of that. He's just a guy. I don't know. Jag, just another guy. Jerry Johnson, running back, Texas A&M. He didn't play at A&M. He's not really from A&M. He spent 3 years at Rice, and he was a fullback, and I think it was a preferred walk-on that got him to Texas A&M. He's coming to Cal. He's a fullback, running back. It's weird. The Cal system, whatever they're doing, I don't know. They just need a fullback in front of Jaden Ott because he's not playing running back. This is a graduate transfer, and Rice is a high academic institution, so the Cal transfer makes sense. Will McDonald, bona fide starter. I don't know if he's going to start for Cal, but he was a starter for Coastal Carolina last year. I think he played guard, a right guard. Yeah, he's a right guard. He started every single game. So there you go. Cal got a bunch of players in the spring. What did they lose? Well, they lost 3 players. Miles Jernigan used to be a starter at Cal. Okay, he used to be a starter at Cal. It didn't work out for him this year. He's not a starter anymore, and he kind of fell out of favor. I don't know if it was an injury, but he wasn't on the field anymore. Not that I remember. So this used to be a good player. Now he's going to Louisville. Maybe he can contribute and play, but I've once seen him have like 50 tackles in a season. Kalen Moore, originally from Colorado, transferred out of Colorado 2 years ago. He transferred out of Colorado before Coach Prime got there. He went to Cal. He plays a little bit. I don't know why he's transferring to UCLA. I don't know why you would transfer to your third, other than you're going close to home, Oaks Christian, right? You're transferring to your third Pac-12 school. It's weird. It's weird. You can't play. If you can play at all of them, you can't play at them. I don't know what's going on. Don't know. Marquez Dortch used to be 4 stars. Once again, another one of these receivers that's 4 stars coming out of high school because where was he going? He was going to Mississippi State. And we got to give every SEC recruit at least 4 stars. He's not a 4-star kid. First year, he got 1 reception for 1 yard in that Mike Leach offense, that run and gun offense. And they had 14 different receivers ahead of him on the depth chart. You heard me right. 14 different wide receivers caught passes from Mississippi State back in 2022. So the assumption was, well, he played for a rep in the SEC. He can play at Cal. No, he can't. Transfers to Cal this year, does nothing. Non-factor. And they had just lost Michael J. Michael Sturdivant. They had just, and they had Hunter here. But it just doesn't move me. The Dortch move doesn't move me. Now he moves to Troy. And from what I hear, he's not in the starting lineup at Troy. And I got a source at Troy. I know what's going on at Troy. He's not in the starting lineup at Troy. And that's Cal. All in all, if you want to give Cal a B because of who they lost, but they gained a whole lot. I mean, a lot of teams don't gain a whole lot. I feel like a B plus is in order at least. Okay? I'm going to go back to the chat after Clemson. Please get your questions in and everything else. Looking at Clemson, obviously they bring no transfer portal players in. Shout out to Dabo. That's his policy. He doesn't bring in transfer portal players. And they only lost 2 guys who never saw the field. I don't understand how you give them a D. They lost 2 inconsequential transfer portal players. 2 non-players. Zachariah Flapjack, Paperjack Owens, who is extremely overweight. Needs to lose some weight to be effective, and he needs to get on a weight control program. It'll probably be 2-3 years before he sees the field, to be honest. He just transferred to Colorado. Don't let the Colorado fans gas you and be like, yo, we got somebody. No, you didn't. You didn't get anybody. You got a recruiting miss, a guy they took a stab on. More power to you. He's not ready to play at the collegiate level at all. The homie needs body by Jake. He needs the firm and a thigh master. And then you got Adam Kisiai going up to Minnesota. I guess you want to go up there. I guess you want to go do the damn thing. Due to 6'7", 230. I watched the tape. Sneaky good. Not a huge loss for Clemson, let me tell you. Not a huge. If you want to play defensive line at Clemson, you better look like you get in that weight room and you look across. You see Peter Woods, and you go, hold up. You start seeing some of these others. There's a true freshman there right now. Killed it in the spring game. 2 sacks. Oh, my God. Clemson got some defensive linemen, young ones, ready to go for the next 2 or 3 years. They've been recruiting their ass off on the defensive line. All right, transitioning to the chat. I actually didn't load the chat box so you guys can read it, and I don't like doing that. Let me do something real quick. Let me pop out the chat. I hate to create sausage, show you guys how we're making the sausage while we're going, but give me a second here. I will get the chat going. Bear with me. I have to do this in the moment. Hate doing that in front of you guys. Shout out to the show. Let's get it popping. And here we go. All right, so we're in the chat. Rico, which still, I think. All right, we're good. I can move it. Yeah, we're fine. Yo, Rico, I really do watch everything. Oh, not much chat to go through. Gonna be crazy when Colorado loses to North Dakota State. The live reaction going to be insane. So motivated and dedicated. I don't necessarily know if Colorado's going to lose to North Dakota State. I would say North Dakota State's a very good team. They have a lot of continuity. They did just lose their star wide receiver. Eli Green went to Iowa State, so that's unfortunate for them. But if you go look at them collectively, and I've done a lot of research on them, they have every significant starter on defense returning from last year. They really do. So they look poised and ready to hit people, tackle people. They have a really good NIL program that they keep all their players on the team and they don't transfer. North Dakota State, the Bison, they have winning pedigree, man. And if there's anything David Braun did before he departed, was he recruited well, he developed well, and that's before he went to Northwestern and won 8 games in his first season, something Coach Prime couldn't do. So they obviously have a coaching edge, they have a continuity edge, and, the thing they have to overcome is an immense amount of talent on the other side of the ball. I don't necessarily think North Dakota State's winning that game, but, yeah, it's going to be pretty intense to see if they cover the spread. Skeet to the moon. Jeckham Bus. He's talking about Jaden Skeet. Jaden Skeet, wide receiver from Boston College, right? You lose some of your wide receivers. You got to make room for Jaden Skeet. He's a stud. I like that kid. Shout out to you for knowing that. Pause. No D, no Diddy. What college that came from the Pac-12 to the ACC do you think that can be a surprise to the conference this coming season? Cal. I don't know if ACC teams know how much Cal can score. Like, Cal can score at any given moment. Cal puts up crazy numbers. They really do. Cal puts up points, and Jaden Ott is a top 10, top 15 running back in the country. So, talent-wise, so it's one of those things. I think Cal's going to surprise them. The team that I think, let me be clear. The ACC has 3 elite teams next year, 3 teams that are really, really good. And it feels like the newcomers are all going to be fine, but they're all kind of Georgia Tech-ish right now. And that includes SMU, and I love SMU. I love what SMU is doing and building, but it's just there's levels to this shit, right? When you start seeing NFL caliber players instead of just Miami transfers carrying you, you start seeing NFL caliber players in the lineup, you're like, whoa. And that's how I feel about Clemson's defense. Now, Cade Klubnik looked like shit in the spring game, and he's looked terrible every single day of his life at Clemson. They better figure something out in a hurry because that's their only issue. That being said, Zach Owens needs to hop on Ozempic. That's a diet pill? Okay, Michael T says, how do you feel Sac State will do this year? Cal has a good rushing game. So how do I feel Sacramento State will do this year? First and foremost, I don't follow the FCS like I do the FBS, so I can't intelligently tell you anything. Most of my projections for next season are only for MVP, so go to Patreon or YouTube, become a member of the channel, and you will know. But I don't do FCS projections for how they're going to do this year in the Big Sky Conference, or who are they going to make it to the playoffs? I don't know any of that stuff. I haven't looked at them individually. More importantly, I haven't looked at their schedule. I do know some of their players, but the team I'm most excited about is UC Davis. Whoa, I almost said Cal Poly. UC Davis. That's the team I'm most excited about. So, anyways, let me get back to the chart here. Thank you guys for the comments and questions. We'll get back to the chart. So, back to the chart. Next team is Duke. In the spring, Duke transfers coming in. So if we go and we look at the date, they got Alex Howard. It says A&M. Alex Howard never played at A&M. Alex Howard is a transfer from Youngstown State. And when he transferred from Youngstown State in the winter to A&M, I immediately said it's a bad transfer. He can't play at A&M. I went and looked at the tape. He didn't appear to be the caliber of player to transfer into the SEC. I didn't see it like that at all. And then seeing him jump back into the transfer portal, I was right. And then he goes to Duke. Is he good enough to play at Duke? I guess. I don't think so, but I'm sure they're happy to get some seniority and some depth at a position group that needs it, but it doesn't feel like a huge win for me. Okay? Bruno flipping on them and going back to UCLA sucks. Shout out to UCLA. That's Deshaun Foster and them boys getting to work. Trayshawn Devons, one of the very best defensive backs in the portal this spring. Nobody talked about it. Obviously, Rice, high academic institution, goes and gets a player that that can qualify to go to Duke. Trayshawn Devons is good, guys. Very good player. Don't you forget it. That's a good player. Al Wooten II out of Mercer going to Duke, and this is just Willie Simmons winning and the new running backs coach, former head coach at FAMU. So he knows the FCS really well. He goes and gets a running back out of Mercer and convinces him to show up. This is a 700-yard rusher. He's been a starter for multiple years now in the rotation at Mercer. So he's a good back, and he's big, man. He's 6 foot 210. What's weird is Star Thomas shows up right after that. I don't know what that's about. They already have Jacquez Stewart. They already have some other guys. They have some other good running backs. What is Star Thomas just wanted to play at the FBS level? I guess. Star Thomas was not special at New Mexico State last year. He was actually a little slow. He's got a good punch to him. He could move the chains, but he's a little slow. A little slow-footed for us. He's good for 30 yards in a game. 30 on 10 carries. 3 yards in a cloud of dust. Sorry, my nose is itching me. Let's go see who departed. Departures this spring. Mekhi Wall, not a big deal, going to North Carolina Central. And then you got Ethan Hubbard going back home to South Alabama. Congratulations to him because he's from Hoover. Not a big move, not a big deal. Duke's grade, a C? Okay, it's not bad. They get a C. I didn't see any bona fide studs or starters. So more power to them. C feels right. Just kind of stay afloat. Florida State. I don't know how you give Florida State a C in the spring transfer portal. I don't know. They signed 2 players. Omarion Cooper, who's going to be in the rotation in the defensive backs, and Cam Riley, who's going to potentially start, right, from Auburn. That's a guy he's amazing. Like, he's a good player. You get those 2 guys, and you want to give me a C? I just saw Duke sign players of no consequence. There's no way that's the same grade. Who did they lose? Greedy Vance? Greedy Vance to USC. He's in the rotation of defensive backs. Cool. What are we doing? We got Omarion Cooper. Same guy. It's a 1-for-1 swap. I don't see the big deal. Jacobs, a young wide receiver who hasn't played, going to South Carolina. Congrats. South Carolina, man. South Carolina's South Carolina transfer portal class when it comes to wide receivers. Woo. Woo. I talked about it in the other video, man. Jarrett Brown, Gage Larvadain. You got Huggins coming over from Louisville, and now you got Jacobs. South Carolina's receiver core is not a game. Very good. And then Joshua Burrell going down to Furman. I don't understand this. Feels like they won in the spring transfer portal. Florida State did. I would have gave Florida State, just off Cam Riley alone, I give them a B-. Just letting you know. They're not equal to Duke. They're not equal to Duke. They're better than Duke. So if you're giving Duke a C, you got to give Florida State a B. This is where I'm at on that, okay? Let's go to Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech in the spring, it felt like it was raining. It's raining, man. Hallelujah. Okay, anyways, you start looking in the spring. They get Romello Height coming back home to Georgia. It's a Georgia kid leaving USC. Not a big deal, but it's nice to get a player back at home. It would have been nice to get him out of high school when they were still giving him 4 stars, but now they give him 3 because he's going to Georgia Tech. Jaden Davis, once again, coming back home. This is a young man who just spent 1 year at Cincinnati. Who cares? He's coming back home. He's from Collins Hill. Shout out. That's Travis Hunter's old high school. Josh Beatham, never seen in the field. Don't know anything about him. Tight end at Michigan, never seen the field. Toby. Is that Toby or Tobe? Like Robe? Tobe? I think it's Tobe. Tobe leaving Illinois, coming to Georgia Tech, corner. Good size, young kid. Was at Illinois just for 1 year. I don't know what that's about either. When you got these 1 year guys who don't pan out and then they transfer to another equivalent school, the lateral transfer, what that tells me is they were pushed to the portal by the coaching staff or they're homesick. Those are the only 2 options. Pushed to the portal by the coaching staff that they're on or they're homesick. That's usually what happens. I'm going to tell you guys 99% of the time. I study this shit for a living, right? This is not a game. Thomas Gore. Thomas Gore, before Miami, was at Georgia State, I believe. Thomas Gore's a little chunk, bro. He ain't 6 feet tall. He's 5'11" as a defensive tackle. That's crazy. 5'11", 300 pounds. And he went to Miami just last year. It didn't work out. I mean, he's just a rotational piece up there. He just plugs things. And Georgia Tech needs all the help they can get on the defensive line, so they went ahead and signed him. It's not bad signing. It helps their team. All the signings are like young, depth, nobody really going to start. That dude will be on the field. Thomas Gore will be on the field. The rest of these guys, not a chance. Okay? Now, who did they lose? They lost some players. So they lost 3 guys. Wayne Green, It's a Lee County kid. He's going to Campbell. He's not an FBS caliber player. Congratulations to Campbell. Jack Barton, not even on the team. Jack Barton's going to UConn. I told you if you guys watched the show, I told you about this back in like January. I said this is a terrible draft. This is a terrible transfer. He was leaving Furman, where he was a role player, coming to Georgia Tech to be on the defensive line, and it wasn't good. I didn't like it at all. Didn't think he brought anything to the table, and now he's going to UConn. Hopefully it's a little more realistic, okay? Eddie Kelly, though, Eddie Kelly's a decent player. He was in the rotation, and he's going to Missouri. I'd imagine, yeah, he didn't lose any rating. He lost, what, 0.35? Because if you're going to Missouri, you got to be good. You got to be good. You're going to the SEC. They're just full of shit, man. But he's not a bad player. He's 6'4" and probably going to grow into his body while he's there and be 300 pounds, a defensive tackle. It's going to be real. So it's unfortunate they lost Eddie Kelly, but they got a 1-for-1 swap. This is the definition of a C grade in the spring portal, and that's exactly what they got, a C. This is what feels like a C right here. Most def. Okay, now we go to Louisville, and then I'll go back to the chat real quick. Make sure you get your questions in. If you guys want to write comments, questions, whatever, go to YouTube. It's the only place I'm going to answer them. Okay, Louisville, coming in the transfer portal this, I guess, spring. Starts with Miles Jernigan, like I told you. Used to be a starter, used to play a lot, probably contributes. Dan Foster. Breakout year last year. At Texas State. Before Texas State, give me a second here. I know I have notes on this. Yeah, he was at Marshall before Texas State. 6'3". He's about 250, guys. He's about 250. He's a little bigger than 240. He might even be 255. No. He's the inverse. He's the one who lost weight. So Dan Foster lost weight, and he's like 225. He's everywhere. Now, it is Texas State. But he's everywhere. I love his tape. He's a sneaky good signing. I really think he's a sneaky good signing. Renee Conga, dude, you're from Canada, bro. You're from Canada, and you didn't play at Rutgers, and you go and transfer to Louisville. You can't play at Rutgers. You can't play at Louisville. But they sign you anyways because they want depth. They don't give a shit. They're going to keep signing depth. Richard Kinley can actually play. Very good player. Never played at Memphis. He's not a Memphis guy. I guess he transferred to Memphis in the winter. I might have missed that. Or this might be a typo. He's from Middle Tennessee State. He's from Middle Tennessee State, not from Memphis. I don't know what they're doing. Did he transfer to Memphis in the winter? Maybe. Maybe I missed it. But I know that he's played at Middle Tennessee State for the last 4 years. Good player. Very good player. I think Louisville's going to be happy with him and what he does. Tramel Logan, same thing. Very good stud out of South Florida. That's a good player as well. Both of these guys, getting them this late, these are sneaky good players. This is why they're not sweating losing Tyler Barron, right? They lose Tyler Barron to Miami. Cool. I'm telling you, this is really good right here. This is very respectable. Giving them a B- is crazy. I see a bunch of defensive signings in the spring. Only defensive signings in the spring. We're talking about 2 linebackers, 2 edge rushers, and a defensive tackle. They're addressing their front 7 and only their front 7 this spring. They must not have liked what they saw in spring football. They went out and got guys, and I'm telling you, 4 out of the 5 were starters on their previous team. 4 out of the 5 were on serious playing time rotations. These are not scrubs. And let's say these 5 all come in and just become depth pieces. That's really good for Louisville. That's really good. They improved their 85. B- my ass. Now, why do you want to give them a B-? Well, what'd they lose in the spring? Well, if you're going to sign guys, you got to lose some. And they lost a good amount. So Ruben, he's on my hidden gems list for UCLA. Offensive lineman, very good player. And he actually wrote to me on Twitter. Shout out to him. Alderman, good player. Penny Boom, you know the deal. Tafiq Thomas, rotational guy. Huge man. Sam Seacrest, don't know much about him. Okay? Don't know much about him. Haven't seen him at all. Luke Burgess, young kid, just redshirted, decided, hey, I can't play at Louisville. I'm going to App State. I think that's a pretty good move for him. Okay? Marcus Washington, I don't know when he's going to finally realize he doesn't belong at any of these schools. I don't know. So Marcus Washington's from Grovetown. Hey, full disclosure, I live in Grovetown. Okay, so I've known this kid for many years. Played at the local high school. Stud. Went to Georgia out of high school. After one season, they kicked him to the transfer portal. He signed with Louisville last year. Still didn't play. And now he's going to Syracuse. When's he going to play? Who's he better than? Let me know. Obviously, he's good depth. He's an athletic kid. He's fast, all those things. But I think that he should be at Georgia Southern. I think he should be at, a group of 5 school where he's actually going to see the field. Jermaine Lowell, this is a tremendous player. 2018 Long Beach Poly, tremendous player. And Texas knows it. Texas knows it. They went and signed him. This is a stud. That's terrible. Losing all these players for Louisville is problematic. Okay, Wesley Walker can play, going to Michigan. Congratulations. Final year of eligibility, excuse me. And then Tyler Barron. I'm not too sold on him, but if you like his 2 sacks in the SEC, 4 in the other games, if you're touting like he's amazing because you watch the tape or whatever, I watched the tape as well. I'm not too enamored with him. I think he's a good player. He's not great. He's not what they're ranking him out to be. So all in all, Louisville, I guess you're giving them a B- because they lost all these good players. They signed a good amount. But, yeah, they did lose a fair amount of good players. You know what? B- feels a little strong. B- feels a little strong. We'll get to Miami here. Before I get to Miami, I'm going to go back to the chat. Bear with me. See what you guys got to say. There's not much chat here. We're pretty good. It's so sad no one talks about these lower level schools, and they even de-rank them because it's just sad. Yeah, it is. It's unfortunate. Shout out Mercer. Go Bears. There it is. Your brother Morantz is having a meltdown on camera right now. Josh, please don't bring that to my show. I don't give a shit. Okay? He's blocked on every platform. That's not for me. If you want to watch that type of stuff, go watch it. I'm not into any of it. Little unrelated, but what do you think about Haynes King? Are you joking? Are you trolling? Are you trolling? What do I think about Haynes King? I had a huge argument today with somebody about Haynes King. I'll show you guys the Twitter conversation. It all started with this post on Twitter here. And I'm going to pull it up on the screen for you guys here in a second. I'll show it to you guys. It all started with this post where they ranked all the top quarterbacks for the 2025 NFL draft. And I did not agree with this list. Connor Wegman's number 1. Carson Beck is here. Shedeur Sanders is here. Mertz is here. I just didn't like this list. So I replied back. What up, Ash? I replied back and I just said, Ash, calm down. So I posted and said, Miami quarterback Cam Ward and Georgia Tech quarterback Haynes King are being highly disrespected because Cam Ward and Haynes King should be on this list. Okay? Now, some guy decided to have a conversation with me about it, and he wrote to me and he said, while Haynes King is doing decent at Georgia Tech, I don't think it translates well into pro ball. I said he beat out the number 1 guy on this list in a quarterback battle. Let's make it clear, he beat out Connor Wegman in a quarterback battle. Haynes King, I've talked about it multiple times. They had a tryout at A&M 2 years in a row. They did a whole spring and fall camp. And in trying out every single day at practice, one guy beat everybody out, and that was Haynes King. And he was the starter at A&M. Now, he didn't play well enough to keep the job. Things went wrong. But you know what? They also fired their offensive coordinator. They also fired their head coach. So if you want to blame the young man, go for it. But I'm looking up top, and I'm going, those decision makers were terrible. Okay? So I just reminded this guy, he got beat out. And this guy says to me, after 2 years of playing experience, he won the starting job over a guy who hadn't taken an NCAA snap. If you compare the stats from 2022, in fewer games Wegman played, he outperformed King. Now, once again, he's saying in 2022, Connor Wegman played less games and played better than Haynes King. And if you go look at the stats, if you're a box score scout, and you go look at those stats, yes, Connor Wegman threw 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. He looked flawless. But there's a huge difference between the two of them, and I let this guy know that immediately. I put it in quotes. If you compare the stats of 2022, in the fewer games Wegman played, he outperformed King. And I wrote, yikes. It's unfortunate you're from this quote-unquote debate sports culture. You guys know I don't debate. I'm here to educate. Says, you're just spouting off nonsense at this point, but let's go. And I started telling him, Wegman got all his stats from this picture down here. Got all his stats against these 4 teams. Connor Wegman threw 5 touchdowns against New Mexico. Oh, I said 8 touchdowns, 0 interceptions. No, he had 2 interceptions. But he got 5 touchdowns against New Mexico, 1 against ULM, 2 against Miami, 2 interceptions, no touchdowns against Auburn. And you'll see this completion percentage. He lit up ULM. He lit up New Mexico. But when he got in that SEC, it looked terrible. When he played against Miami, he threw 2 picks. I bring all that up to tell you guys that not a single one of these teams in 2022 had a winning season. These were all losing teams. So this is who Connor Wegman played, and you're looking at his stats saying he's so amazing. Oh my God, Rico, he's great. No, he's not. He played absolute scrubs. New Mexico went 0-8 in the Mountain West that year. They finished with 2 wins. One of them was an FCS win. Like, they're just not any good. And this is what you're saying. You're saying he outperformed Haynes King. Do you know who Haynes King played that year? I do. And I told him. Haynes King's numbers were on the road against Alabama. All these were road games. Alabama, Mississippi State, South Carolina, and then he got to play against Florida at home. You tell me what numbers are you going to have against those teams, or how are you going to do against New Mexico, ULM, Miami, and Auburn? It's apples and oranges. I said 2 fall camps in a row, Haynes King beat everyone out in that quarterback room. It's obvious he didn't keep the job. But when there's preparation, tryouts, and an entire camp to compete against one another, King beats all of them. He's now under Chris Winkie for the last 2 years, and I had to let him know Chris Winkie won the Heisman Trophy. You know why I had to let him know this? Because I know I'm arguing sports in Twitter beefs with people who don't remember 9/11. I know I'm talking to people who don't know who Peter Warwick and Chris Winkie are. I know it. They don't know Samari Roll. They don't know Santana Moss. They don't know. I could just start naming decent players. They don't know Courtney Brown, Larry Johnson. They don't know anybody from that era. They don't know what they're talking about. So when they say, oh, well, he's not doing it, I'm like, yo, his coach is Chris Winkie. If you hung out with Chris Winkie all day, there's more benefit and value in learning from Chris Winkie than a hell of a lot of other people. It's a Heisman Trophy winner. He's been developed to be great. By the way, response to this post, absolute crickets. Nothing. No response. I'm getting arguments all day. No response to this post. And this is why you can't talk to me about sports. Because the first person to learn something in a debate loses. You lose. If you learned something in that debate, you lost. And that kid was learning things about Connor Wegman at that moment. When he told me, if you look at the stats in 2022, he was better. He was learning new things. That's how I feel about Haynes King. He's amazing. Shout out to me. I believe in Haynes King. Just keeping it real, son. Let's go back to the chat. Good evening, Rico. Tell him, Rico, yeah. No, I'm serious. Okay. Is Thor Griffin the truth for Louisville? No. There you go. There's the answer to that. No. Jabron Fuller, good evening, Rico. Shout out to Jabron Fuller, supporter of the channel. That's why he has a blue badge next to his name. I can always tell who supports the channel, who's a member by the blue badge. Shout out to you. We're going to get back to the teams and their grades here. Let's go. I just finished Miami, or I didn't get into Miami at all. I didn't get into Miami. So, Miami, transfers coming in the spring. It's a number of them. Obviously, Damian Martinez, superstar running back, A+ signing. Jalen Alderman coming over from Louisville, former starter, good player. Dayani Hill, absolute stud at Marshall. You go turn on the tape. Marshall had 2 corners worth a damn. One of them was Micah Abraham, who I love, and I put all over my draft stuff. Okay, ESPN didn't have him in the top 250 players getting drafted. I was screaming about it every single day after every round of the draft. They're like, well, who's the best available players? I'm like, Micah Abraham. I can only say it so many times before people start to listen. But he's short and he's highly productive. This man, Hill here, not short. Stud. Okay, 6'2", 175, showing up after only 1 year of starting time. I think he redshirted the first year. 1 year, he's at Miami. I like that move a lot. Sam Brown, the leading wide receiver at Houston. All these receivers at Houston, and look, they try to tell you, oh, Matthew Golden's good, because Golden's going to Texas. This is the man who had twice as much receiving yards as him. You better give this man a rating out of this world. He's actually the team's leading receiver. Samuel Brown Jr., this is the man right here. Shout out to New Hampstead. And then Simeon Barrow, apparently he's staying. He's gonna stay. The check cleared. Initially he said he was gonna roll out and end up somewhere else. The check cleared. He's gonna stay at Miami. I got word on that today from exclusive sources. And then Tyler Barron shows up from Louisville. Great gets all the way around. Who did they lose? Thomas Gore, non-issue. Demetrius Freeney, young kid who was not in the rotation for all that much. Caleb Spencer, young kid, never did anything, lifted weights 1 year. Now he's going up to Virginia Tech, going back home. Good move for him. Trevante Citizen going to McNeese. McNeese is nice, bruh. McNeese got some players. They got a good quarterback, came in from Montana, right? They got McDowell coming in. They got Mason Pierce at wide receiver, and now they got Citizen at running back. They got some players, y'all. McNeese State got some players in the transfer portal. I need you to know that. Savion Riley going to Colorado, not a big deal. Wasn't ever playing at Miami. Just showed up in the winter. Found out he couldn't play there. Yeah, he's a Vandy kid. And then Jaden Wayne, that's a good recruit. It's a good recruit. Sorry to lose him, but he's going over to Washington. Notice, 4 stars, 94 on the rating. Got to make sure we knock him down. He's going to Washington. He's no longer going to. We got to knock him down. Okay, William Hawkins also left. Not a big deal. Going to Charlotte. Probably should have been in Charlotte the whole time. North Carolina kid. Obviously was trying to make it at Miami, but shouldn't have been there. Good-sized kid, by the way. Ja'Cory Brown. I love Ja'Cory Brown. He chose the wrong team, though. He went to UCF. I don't know what that's about. You can't play at Miami. You can't play at UCF. Ja'Cory Brown fell down to 4th on the depth chart. I love this kid out of Lowndes. I've talked about him many, many times. It's unfortunate to lose him. It's nothing for Miami to lose him. It's not a big deal at all. Jared Harrison Hunt going to SMU. Congratulations. The pipeline from Miami to SMU is still open for a lot of these older guys, especially the ones that were there when Rhett Lashley was there and his whole staff. Nigel Kelly, if you look at any recruiting website, they're going to try to tell you this is one of the biggest losses in the spring. It's not. He's a highly recruited kid, former 4-star. Knocked him down to 3 because he went to UCF. I get it. But it's a good get for UCF. Good get. A lot of potential here. Young guy. Going to get in the rotation and do his damn thing. I like him. When you watch film, he's good. Okay? When you watch film, he's good. Henry Parrish, team's leading rusher, gone. Went to Ole Miss. Going back to Ole Miss where he came from. That's unfortunate. Logan, I guess because you lose your leading rusher and Chance Williams going to Charlotte as well, and you lose Logan to Washington, not a big deal to me. Just an older guy, kind of fell out of the rotation at some point. I don't know, man. Only lost, and they replaced it. They lost their leading rusher, they replaced it with Damian. I still give them an A+. Miami's an A+. Sam Brown puts it over the top for me. He's going to be the second or third wide receiver on the team, and he's really, really good. So I like Sam Brown. Their departures, doesn't really matter to me. It's not the end of the world. All right, give me a second here. NC State. Let's go. We're going to pull it up. Sorry, there we go. I'm looking for something real quick, y'all. I apologize. There we go. I need this up. There we go. Oh, man. Ash, calm down. It's just me. Come on. I'm sorry, guys. My dog's barking. She's agitated by something. All right. So I had to pull up the chat window. When you guys are writing in chat, I have to see it while I'm going here just to see when it backs up. So go back to the spring. NC State signed 3 players. Kerry Martin coming over from Akron. been around for a long time at Akron, okay? 2019 kid. So he's going to try to prove himself at the ACC level. Let's see it. Chaz Wallace, don't think he should have transferred to NC State. This is a kid who actually saw the field at ODU, but when he got to Colorado, he couldn't get in the rotation all that much. So if you're not in the rotation at Colorado and they upgraded away from you, why the hell do you think you can play at NC State? You can't. They'd love to sign you because they need a fourth defensive tackle, right? That's what it comes down to. When the team's signing guys this late in the spring portal, they're just signing guys that are the fourth or fifth string guy. Like I had a kid. I advise players, guys. Players reach out to me. Their parents reach out to me. I advise players on where they need to go in the transfer portal. It's a fee. I'm not an agent yet. I'm just out here advising. And I talk to teams. And I remember I had a young man, and he wanted to go FBS. He's an FCS transfer, all conference. And he said, I want to go FBS. I said, cool, let's talk to certain coaching staffs. So he hits me back. He goes, oh, my God, so-and-so just reached out to me. I said, all right, listen to me. They don't want you. Oh, no, they want me. They said they want me. I said, listen to me. They don't want you. He said, Mr. Rico, thank you so much for everything. I think I got to go. So he took a trip. He took an actual official visit. And I kid you not, he's on his official visit to Texas Tech. He's there. And he calls me. He says, I can't believe this shit. I said, what's the matter? He goes, they're recruiting me to be the number 2 right guard. I said, yeah, I told you they don't want you to start. They're looking for a backup guard. Whoever they're signing right now is a backup guard. That's just what it is, bruh. That's their job. Their job is to improve their roster. They're not worried about your playing time. They're not worried about your final year of eligibility. They're not worried about none of that shit. They want to improve their roster. So they're just trying to find anybody better than their second string guard. That's what they're doing. So, Chaz Wallace showed up. Yes, you add depth to the team. You're a backup. Jahad Carter, though. Jahad Carter, leaving Ohio State. He's really a Syracuse kid. Just transferred into Syracuse. Found out he couldn't play there. Now he's coming back closer to home. Good player. Used to be an all-conference ACC guy. Welcome back to the ACC. He's a good player. I'm excited to see what will happen. They raised his rating coming back to the conference. I'm excited to see what happens. So that's a good signing for them. Not bad. Let's see who left. In the spring, one player, Julian Gray. Julian Gray, no consequence here. Going to Liberty, it's not a big deal. Nope. Shout out to NC State. So you sign one guy you know can play for you. It's a C. I think it's probably a C+. They only lost one guy. It's a C+. Come on, man. We're at North Carolina now. If you just got here late and you missed your favorite team, rewind the show. You can put it at 1.3, 1.25 speed and get it all back. You'll catch up. All right, North Carolina signed 2 players. Joshua Harris coming from Ole Miss. All potential, just a big body guy. Okay? Just a big body guy. And fine. And then you go and get Jacoby Criswell. Now, I talked to Jacoby Criswell on Twitter. He wrote me. He told me everything I said about him was true. But it's just because the timing was bad. I don't know what the hell that means, but I can tell you that this is one of the most ignorant transfers I've ever seen. If you guys don't know the deal with Jacoby Criswell, this is a state championship quarterback, a complete stud, 4 stars coming out of high school. He could have had a Hall of Fame career at this point, at Arkansas State. He could have done something great at a Group of 5 school. But instead, he literally went to North Carolina, sat the bench behind Drake May and Sam Howell, never started, just sat the bench for 2 years, and then he realized, oh, they don't want me. I'm going to go transfer. And he transferred back to Arkansas. And when I say back to Arkansas, that's where he played high school ball. So he transfers to Arkansas. You can't play at North Carolina and you transfer to Arkansas. And all Arkansas does is sit you on the bench behind KJ Jefferson under the guise of, hey, man, come to our school. We're going to start you after KJ Jefferson graduates and goes to the NFL. After KJ Jefferson leaves, we'll start you. So you go and you sit the bench. All year last year. Terrible team, losing their ass off. Nobody's going to take KJ Jefferson's spot. So Jefferson leaves in the transfer portal. Now it's your time to shine, Jacoby Criswell. No, it's not. They go and sign a great quarterback from Boise State. a dual threat quarterback who does everything you do, only better. Because he's 6'5", you're 6 foot. So now Jacoby Criswell is SOL. Shit out of luck. And he jumps back in the portal. So I make a video and I say, hey, listen, Jacoby Criswell, you've been in college 3-4 years now. You can't do this. You can't do this, bro. You can't waste your whole career on the bench. Please, for the love of God, pick a school that wants you, needs you, and is going to play you. And he assured me he's going to do that. Jumps in the portal, and he goes back to North Carolina. Woo, back to North Carolina. Wild. He's going to be a backup. You think he's better than Max Brown? What's his name? Brad Johnson's kids. Max Johnson? Yeah. What do you think's going to happen there? This is crazy. This is insanity. Doing the same thing over and over, expecting a different result. Insanity. Who did they lose? In the spring. They lost a number of players. Not the end of the world. Don Chapman. I want to say Chapman, well, he's going back to California. He's really from San Diego, though, but he's going back to California for his final year. He's going to San Jose State, so congrats to him. Tad Hudson, young guy, never played, and he's going to Coastal Carolina, probably where he needed to be anyways. Not a bad move. Interior offensive lineman DJ Geth going to Liberty. Fine, he just went and lifted weights at North Carolina for 1 year. You know, all these guys, look at all these guys right here, 2023 guys, 2023. They showed up and lifted weights for 1 year. What they did was they told all their high school teammates, I'm going to Power 5, I'm going Power 5, I'm going D1, Power 5, Power 5, Power 5. They just kept saying it over and over until they believed it. And then they got there, looked around, and said, nobody here looks like me. I need to get the hell out of here. I need to go to ECU. There's nothing wrong with going Group of 5. Stop wasting years going to these Power 5 schools when they don't really want you. They don't want you. Then we got an IMG kid. He can't take no for an answer, and he's going to Michigan State. Congratulations. These are not special players. North Carolina. Departures, bunch of young talent, it doesn't matter. Inconsequential young talent, and you got back a quarterback that's been the backup the whole time. I don't know. It feels like a total C here. A D maybe with all the young talent you lost. D sounds about right. Give him the big D. And I don't mean Dallas. Let's go to Pitt. Pitt's grade is a D on the chart here. It looks like Pitt got Anthony Johnson. Anthony Johnson, another kid who didn't work out, didn't pan out, and I told you he wouldn't. Anthony Johnson leaving Illinois, going to Pitt. He couldn't play at Illinois. Now he's magically going to go. Pitt needs a lot of help on the defensive line, so they're signing him. Anthony Johnson did not play at Illinois. He showed up there in the winter. He's a transfer from Youngstown State. FCS guy. I didn't think he was any good. I just think it's just a big body guy they want to get. Josh McCarty coming in from Eastern Michigan. Doesn't stick out and pop on tape for me at all. Final year of eligibility. Congrats. Chief Borders, good player. 4 stars coming out of high school. He's been reduced down to 3 stars now. Everybody kind of recognizes Chief Borders just doesn't play good football. Don't get me wrong. Great family, great locker room guy, high character, coming out of high school. I mean, his dad's a personal trainer. He runs some type of thing that makes athletes amazing, and he's got his own, from the streets to stars or some shit type of business. And because of that, Chief Borders knows every NFL player, and he worked out with NFL players his whole life and all this shit. And then he transferred from Illinois from Chicago all the way to Georgia to play at Heard County. Cool, man. Never panned out. Went to Florida initially, never saw the field. He's a great locker room guy. He's a fucking politician, if you will. He's doing community service. He's an honor roll student. He's everything you want him to be. I don't think he's football. Football's not his life. It's Josh Rosen-esque. Remember Josh Rosen? He said, "Why are you going to UCLA?" "Oh, well, I want a network for people to know for the rest of my life, for my life after football." Life after football was 5 years away, bro. Like, you're tripping. Not even focus on your NFL career and what you want to do. Chief Borders is just a good person, man. Nothing too negative. He was going to eventually start at Nebraska this year. Going to Pitt helps alleviate some of their pain because they lost a ton of transfers on the defensive side of the ball to South Carolina and Colorado, but mainly to South Carolina. They lost their linebackers. Bengali left. Just some studs, okay? And now you replace it with Chief Borders. It doesn't feel like an adequate replacement, or an equivalent replacement, I should say. So that's unfortunate. And this is why you're getting a D. You're signing these dudes, and they don't really move me like that. Anglin from Kentucky doesn't move me like that either. Just a young kid who went to Kentucky, worked out for a year, and now he's showing up here at Pitt. That's it. It's going to be rough. Now, I like Pitt. I like the way they're coached. I like some of their players. Who do they lose in the transfer portal this spring? This spring is a little different from when I did my assessment of them in the winter. They go and lose Dayon Hayes to Colorado. That's a starter, four sacks guy, third on the team in sacks. He's gone. Solomon DeShields, good linebacker. He's gone. He's a little small to play a linebacker, but he's a good player going to A&M. It's one of their team's leading tacklers. Christian Villieu, the transfer from Penn State, now going to Georgia State. Christian Villieu is a Canadian, bro. He can't play football. I told you guys this years ago. I've been on this for 2 years now. Said this guy's not good. Everything I looked at, not good. Don't believe in him. Isaiah Israel Polk leaving and going to Akron sounds about right after one season. But all in all, it's just because you lost 2 starters. You lost 2 starters, and you're gaining what? These are not adequate replacements for the 2 starters you lost. They're not. So it feels like a D. It feels like a D. That sounds about right. So I'm on that for sure. I'll go back to the chat here after I finish SMU. They're pretty long, so we'll get to SMU, go to the chat, and then we'll finish it up. Transfers coming in the spring here for SMU. They have a total of they have Matthew Hibner coming over from Michigan. Never played at Michigan. He just lifted weights there for a year. Quayshawn Sapp from Lee County, Georgia, Leesburg. This is a kid who was at Florida State. Hit the transfer portal, went to Florida A&M for about a week or two. Said I'm not going to be there. Then went to ECU. They tell me he was 4th string at ECU. 3rd or 4th string in the spring football camp. And now he's at SMU. I don't know what's going on. I don't know if he's highest bidder or what. Whatever, bro. It is what it is. Defensive lineman in Harrison Hunt. Going to get back in the rotation at SMU, leaving Miami, final year of eligibility. Billy Walton, young kid, coming back, actually going to SMU from Texas, but he's just a young kid who found out, hey, man, I probably can't make it there. Now, he won some state titles, South Oak Cliff, right? They're a perennial power, great high school program, probably a really good player, and a really exciting get for them. If you ask me, these 2 are very exciting gets for them. I'm sure they are, okay? Now, these next 2, Paris Patterson, Arkansas, Andrew Chamley, Arkansas. Getting 2 linemen from Arkansas, young guys. 2023, 1 season, 2 seasons at Arkansas. Young guys, they are huge guys. 6'4", 355, 6'6", 320. Huge guys. But who they're replacing is insane, right? Who they're attempting to replace is just bananas. And I'm talking about some of these, and we're going to go to transfers out, some of these all-conference linemen that decided to leave, like Marcus Bryant and Branson Hickman. This is monumentally terrible to lose these guys. Brian Massey, he's okay. He played a little bit, but it's not the end of the world. Stephen Wright just never really panned out. But these two are literally the best. This is the best transfer in the entire ACC. Marcus Bryant is going to Missouri. He's the best. So you lost the best player in all of the transfer portal. And then Branson Hickman is probably top 10 for sure. So it's a tremendous loss on the offensive line for SMU with these 2 guys. It hurts. And this is probably why they don't have an A. They're at a B+. You just lost 2 of your best, all conference, first team, the whole deal. These guys are all conference, first team, second team, whatever it is. They're great. SMU offensive line, they got to figure it out, but they got all the skilled players in the world. They're loaded everywhere. It's pretty good. It's pretty good. I think they're okay. Stanford. I already told you about Stanford's transfer portal issues. They got 1 player, Clay Patterson, coming over from Yale. Congratulations. They can't get transfers approved by the school. It's very rare for them to get transfers. It's just the nature of the beast. And then who do they lose this spring? They only lost 2 guys, Jimmy Wyrick and Lance Neely. Not a big deal for either guy, really. I'm sure they think Lance is pretty good. Arizona recruits the hell out of Mission Viejo, or at least they go out there and they recruit that entire Trinity League, Southern Section CIF thing going on. They're looking at it like crazy. Everybody is. But I don't think it's the end of the world. I don't think it's that bad. This was a little worse, losing Usurek and some of these other guys. But, what's their grade? They gave him a D? I'll give them a C, bro. They didn't lose too much. They didn't gain anything, but they didn't lose too much. That's crazy. You can't give them a D. You can't give them a D. Let's go to the chat. I'm with the chat now. I'm with the chat. And we got people saying, tell them, Rico, word. Cam says, what's your evaluation on Luke Cromenhook? I'm an FSU fan. People talk about him like he's the next Jameis Winston. So I never really understood it. So Luke is from Georgia, and he was a 3-star kid, and then they increased him to 4 stars and then 5 stars right before the end of the season. I think he played at Benedictine here in Georgia. Didn't win the state title, if I remember correctly. They lost this year. I've never really been too impressed. I think he's the first 5-star quarterback that they've recruited, so they're talking about him like he's amazing and all this stuff. I've never really looked at him and thought he was that great. You know, there's a 3-star kid committed to Miami right now, Luke Nickel. Oh, he's so much better. And he plays 7A, right? You're talking about Luke Cromenhook. He played 4A football in Georgia. So 7A, the highest level, the best teams, and he just won the state title out of Milton, I believe. And Nickel's just so much better. Nickel will go to camp and beat everybody. And then he'll come home and they'll be like, yeah, he's 3 stars. He's a camp MVP, but he's 3 stars. Something like that. I'm just saying Miami's got a guy. Shout out to Luke Cromenhook. He's just never really impressed me on tape. And I don't mean to sound facetious. Like, I don't mean to sound disingenuous because he is a 5-star player. So obviously he looks good on tape. But not the way I feel about it. Like, no, I don't feel like that. I'm just saying. They said Barrow's supposed to go to Missouri. Is that true, Rico? No, not at all. It's not true. He's going to go to Miami. He's staying at Miami. I have sources. Rip Anthony Johnson. Word. You told his ass. I did. Bill Walton is trash. Billy Walton is trash. Oh, you're not talking about the basketball player. You better not be talking about the basketball player. You're talking about the football player we just saw on the screen. Yeah. Sign him to help with Malik Muhammad. There you go. All right, Joseph Villalon, let me tell you guys something. Don't ever take anything Joseph Villalon says with any validity. That dude is the biggest homer in the world. By the way, Joseph Villalon says he's rich. He's at every Texas game, no matter where it's at. Don't ever believe Joseph Villalon, ever. He went missing when Oklahoma beat Texas. We had to send out a search party. That man was missing for weeks, all right? This is RicoKnows. We got regulars up in here. We know. There's people here who remember this. Villalon was missing, bro. We had T-shirts made, milk carton and shit. That Villalon ain't it. Let's go pull up Syracuse. Syracuse in the spring, they gave Syracuse a B. That means it's kind of Cal-esque. Let's see some young talent. Let's see what they got. So they start up with Jacob Zur coming over from Wake Forest. Long snapper. Congratulations. Not a big deal to me. Modern day. Not the right modern day, but a corner coming over from Notre Dame. It's the secondary guy they got in 2 years. I want to say they got Jaden Gould, and the other kid. Dude, I can't be drawing blanks like this. I got to remember everybody. Bellamy and Gould. Well, hold up, bro. Let's get at this. 2023. Bellamy and Gould, Nebraska and Notre Dame. I got to remember this stuff. Transfers coming in. Bellamy and Gould. Bellamy! Gould! Dude, I'm dangerous, bruh. Bergen Catholic. Both went to the same high school. So they already brought these kids in last year. So you bring in another Notre Dame defensive back. It looks like you got a pipeline of grabbing Notre Dame kids back-to-back years. What I would say to Syracuse is, careful, man. You're getting these guys from Notre Dame. There's not a known track record of greatness here. But you go and get Clarence Lewis. I guess he's going to come in and contribute right away. Savion Washington, final year of eligibility coming in. This was the starting right tackle for Colorado last year. Previously was a starter at Kent State. It makes sense to bring in a big body like this. He is good enough to start, man. He's 6'8", 340. I know a lot of people don't like him, but it ain't his fault. It ain't his fault that quarterback held the ball so long. Justice Ross Simmons, complete stud. Okay, very good player. Second leading receiver out of Colorado State. A lot of people wanted him. He looks good on tape, and he's 6'3", 215, man. He's got big size, big everything. That kid can play. I know he's got big everything. I was in the locker room with him. He dropped his towel. All right, Marcus Washington. I already talked about him when he left Louisville. I don't know if he can play at this echelon. I'm curious. He's an athlete. He used to be pretty good in the 100 meters as well, so he's got good speed. Will Nixon, finally finding his way. Will Nixon never saw the field at Washington, never got in that rotation. Let's see what happens. He's going up to Syracuse. I don't like these lateral transfers. If you can't play at Washington, you can't play at Syracuse, especially with people like Quint Allen. They have a good running back room at Syracuse. And there's a lot of good running backs in the upper Northeast that they can hit. This is a Texas kid. I would have much rather Will Nixon transferred back to Texas, taking back Texas, go to UTSA, go to Houston, go to UTEP, SMU, go down there somewhere. Don't do this. It doesn't feel right. I'm just keeping it real. So that's who they brought in. They're giving him a B for that. I don't know what that's about. And then who did they lose? They lost Damian Alford, who's a complete animal. This is a hidden gem and a half. Damian Alford is 6'5", 210. This is a good wide receiver. All the terrible quarterback play at Syracuse last year, and Damian Alford still played good. Syracuse didn't have a quarterback after injury. It's bad. Okay? You're losing Joe Moore. It's his final year of eligibility, going to Arkansas to go do the damn thing, and then you lose Jawan Price. Not a big deal losing Jawan Price. Not a big deal. Congrats to North Texas. That's a good get. See what I'm talking about? That's what this man should have done. Nixon over here should have went to North Texas. That's what he should have done. He would have been started. At least been up there. Yeah, you go to North Texas, bro. You get something on tape. You're going to be on the bench. You don't get shit on tape. Just letting you know. All right. I'll go to the chat once I'm done. I got 3 teams left, and then we'll wrap it up for the night. Let's go. All right, we're looking at Virginia now. Virginia in the spring signed 1 player, Ethan Sipe. Ethan Sipe coming over from Dartmouth. He was a starter at Dartmouth. Okay, he was a starter at Dartmouth, I think 2 years. And he's coming into Virginia. You got 1 player. What did they give Virginia the grade? They gave him a D? Who did they lose? They didn't lose anybody. How are you going to give him a D? They signed him 1 player. They didn't lose nobody. They literally gained a player, and you're saying they get man, that's crazy. Man, what's wrong with it? Man, Rivals. You ain't shit, Rivals. A D? He don't make them worse? Wild, bro. Wild. Virginia Tech. Virginia Tech, they gave them a D as well. They better have lost somebody. So you get Colin Schlee. I'm getting word Colin Schlee might move positions. I'm getting word he's not going to be a quarterback. He might be a safety, a defensive back, something, a wide receiver. Colin Schlee used to be the starting quarterback at Kent State. He's a pretty athletic kid. He can kind of run around a bit. Think of Ryan Tannehill-esque, talent-wise, athletically. And then Ryan Tannehill once led Texas A&M in receiving. And then he went to UCLA, found out there's levels to this. I don't belong at UCLA. No shit. But he was getting paid, so he didn't care. Now he's going to Virginia Tech. I don't know what that's about. Curtis Perry, coming out of high school, they tell me he was one of the greatest defensive linemen in Alabama, signs with Alabama, so they give him 4 stars, and really high 4 stars. Then magically, he goes to Virginia Tech, and he's no longer 4 stars. Just the nature of recruiting websites and their bullshit. Okay. Then you have Caleb Spencer. Welcome back home. Lifted weights at Miami for 1 year. Couldn't see the field. You can't see the field when they have guys like Maui Goa coming in from Washington State and shit like that. But it's all good. We'll see what happens. It's a good get for Virginia Tech. If they got him out of high school, it would have been fine. He wasn't like a superstar. He just had no business going down to Miami. That's all. Just stay close to home, bro. What's with everybody's infatuation of leaving? You know what I'm saying? Transfers leaving. Transfers leaving in the spring. Dylan Wicke. I'm a fan of Dylan Wicke. Watched him in high school. He was the Buford quarterback. Guess what? He won state titles. Okay? He won a state title, I think his junior year. Not Jake Garcia. Dylan Raiola didn't win a state title. Dylan Wicke did. Not his senior year, but his junior year. But you go to Virginia Tech, there's another quarterback that already left. He went to Rhode Island. He left Virginia Tech already. It's just Kyron Drones, right? Kyron Drones. He's going to be the starter. You're not going to see the field. Oh, by the way, we got some dude named Pop. You're not going to see the field. So it is what it is. Now you go to Minnesota. That move doesn't make sense to me. If you can't play at Virginia Tech, you know where else you can't play? Minnesota. Move doesn't make sense to me. But they want a backup quarterback. They're going to develop him. I don't get it. I would have went to Charlotte. I would have went to Charlotte or fucking, excuse my language, ODU or JMU. Be realistic. Antonio Cotman, I don't know much about this young man. Another guy, Life Christian Academy. His teammate went to Miami, and now he's back, and now you have Cotman. They're on the same high school team, and he's going to Charlotte, though. Good move. Good for him. Realize you can't play, you go there. I'm not giving Virginia Tech a D, bro. That's crazy talk. They didn't lose nothing. Nah, you're tripping. They didn't lose anything. It's nuts, man. That's crazy. Transfers coming in for Wake Forest in the spring. 1, Sedarius Kelly, complete stud. Sedarius Kelly is a stud, played at Lenore Rhine Bears. I like him. I like him a lot. I actually have him on a tweet somewhere. I don't know where I have it. Let me see. I have a tweet. Oh, no, I moved it off the page. I wrote about this guy. I went and watched tape on him. I didn't know who he was. I like him. I like this kid. Wake Forest got one. Just letting you know, they got one. Now, did they lose some players? They lost 3. They lost a running back. It's not even a running back. I thought Santonio was a quarterback. Marchi, I think this guy's a quarterback. Santonio Marchi is a quarterback. You see what I'm talking about? Tell me he's a quarterback. I don't know what that is, bro. Running back? That's weird. I could have sworn he was a quarterback. Deshaun Jones, corner, leaving, going to Alabama. That hurts. That hurts. That hurts. And then Jacob Zor going to Syracuse. Not a big deal to me. The long snapper. They're not going to make or break or win your totals. So I'm glad you guys learned about the transfer portal in the ACC in the spring. I hope you learned something about every single team. I'm going to go to the chat one last time. If you got questions, comments, concerns, anything, go over to YouTube. Drop it in the chat now. I'll get to it. I promise. I answer everything before I get off the show. So let's go. All right, chat. Oh, over quick. Thank goodness. Savion was terrible. People was blowing past him and Jack Bailey at Hut. Yeah, Jack Bailey with the neck roll. Jack Bailey will probably be starting as well at Northwestern. It turns out they're not bad players. You know why people can blow past you at Hut? Shanice? Your quarterback's cadence becomes predictable. If your quarterback's cadence becomes predictable, you can get a really good jump on the rush, and the offensive line stands no chance. So if there's no variance to your cadence, and you just keep going down, set, hut, yeah, you're going to get sacked every single time. Those linemen know what they're doing. They're not terrible. They're not. They didn't just magically become terrible when they got to Colorado. There's years of tape on those guys being very, very effective. You got to figure out what's wrong at Colorado. I know what it is. It is what it is. Marchi played quarterback in high school. What I say? It's like I know every player in America. And they didn't suck every game. Chris Tyree and Tyler Neville, they were not transfers in the spring. They transferred in the winter. I talked about them during the live streams. If you go to YouTube and you click on the live tab, you will see a bunch of videos. Let me try to pull some up so I can show you guys what this looks like. Give me a second here. Give me a second. I'll explain it to you guys. I'll put it on the screen so everybody can see. Oh, Rico, I want to learn about the transfer portal. Oh, you don't put it on TikTok anymore. Oh, you don't know what you're talking about. No. No, you guys don't know what you're looking for. So I'll show you. Okay? The first thing you want to do when you go to my channel, right here, you go to my page. The first thing you want to do is click on live. Okay, let me show you guys. You come in here. You don't click on videos. Don't click on playlists, click on live. And when you click on live, it will show you I'm currently live. But you can go down here and see all the previous live streams. And every single live stream that you're asking about, let's say you're talking about Chris Tyree, he's a running back. If you want to learn about running backs, scroll back and you're going to find episode 1. And you're going to look for episode 1 running backs. Episode 1. You're going to watch this one. Then you're going to go look for episode 2 for running backs. There's episode 3. And I'm talking about every single position group in these videos. So there's a video for quarterback, running back, wide receivers, tight ends, offensive line, defensive line, linebackers, secondary, and then we start over again. Quarterback, running back, wide receivers, linemen, defensive linemen, linebackers, secondary. We start over again. Quarterbacks, running. And I did this over and over and over to cover every player in the transfer portal during the winter. Okay? Now, when we get closer to the season, the format will change, and it will look like this. I will do a daily podcast for every single conference. Now, people who've been following the channel from last season, they know this. So I will do ACC, then the Big 10, then the Big 12, then the SEC, then the Pac-12. Over and over, just like this, every single day, 5 days a week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And it's always ACC, Big 10, Big 12, SEC, and I include one group of 5 conference with those conferences. So it's ACC and Conference USA. It's the Big 10 and the MAC. Big 12 and the ACA and the American. SEC and the Sun Belt. Mountain West and the Pac-12. You get what I'm saying? So I do a conference every single day, and I'll talk about every single team, every single pick, and I do this over and over. But if you ever want to see old episodes, they're here. I erased a lot of them because I was dealing with the discrepancy with YouTube last year, okay? As far as copyright concerns and some nonsense. But the point is, if you want to learn and sit down and just watch every podcast I've ever done, that's still around, because I deleted maybe 1,000. I think I deleted 1,500 videos. So you're left with these. But whenever I do a live stream, you can always come back and learn. So if you want to learn about who's the best wide receiver core in college football, it's right there. Who's the best transfer portal in the ACC? It's right here. Now, starting in July, every single day of the week, I will have a podcast just like this, a live stream, and it'll be a different theme and a different conference every single day. And you guys will get the rhythm, and then the people will show up, and we'll go from 30, 40 people watching us, 10, whatever it is, to hundreds. It just happens. It's no big deal. If you go back and look, back when we were doing these, you get thousands of people viewing them. You see the views? 2,000, 2,000, 2,000. It's very normal to not have 3,000, right? Look at these views, hundreds. It's no big deal when we only have hundreds of views. It doesn't matter to me. I put in the same amount of effort when there's hundreds of views, because I know that one day it's going to pay off. So I just keep it consistent. Look at that, 10,000 views. I just keep it consistent. I don't worry about the views. I worry about the content and the accuracy of the content. I'm not worried about the views. So nowadays, when there's thousands of people watching it, it's not a big deal. By the way, all these trees you guys see, this is me doing a Q&A after every workout. I usually work out every single day, and I do a questions and answer after my workout. You can come ask any question you want. I'll answer it. It's usually me working out after a run. They're really short episodes, maybe 30 minutes of just me shooting the shit and talking to people. Okay, but these videos like this, they're very theme oriented and directed. So there you go. That's how that works. If you wanted to learn about a player that you didn't hear about tonight, that's how I do it. Okay. Every game, though, yeah, they sucked every game. Been following on TikTok for like 2 years now, and always enjoyed the content. These live streams are great. Glad I started tuning in. Thank you so much, Jack and Bus. I appreciate the support, man. And yeah, I work hard every day. There's always a live stream out there, or there's some type of content being made, whether it's on Patreon, YouTube, and sometimes TikTok. People get mad at Rico, but don't realize he puts in more work and is more accurate than half these sites. Oh, yeah, man, I don't worry about those haters. Those are kids. The adults know, the gamblers know, the MVPs know. Rivals, On3, 24/7, all 3 of them know. Yeah, your friends don't know, but Rico knows. I appreciate you guys watching me. I'm going to call it a night. It is Friday night. I want to relax with my dog. I need to go get something to eat. But in the meantime and in between time, if you work your thing and I work mine, I just want to thank you guys for always being here. Give me a second. Give me a second. I cannot just get down like that. These boys are always charging me for my music, bro. And it makes me mad. Because we got to find a theme song. Dudes are trying to get a cut of all my money, man. I don't like it. So I turned off the theme song that I had. The guy was asking me to split revenue with him on all my shows. That's not happening. Hope you guys learned about the transfer portal for the spring, though. Remember, I'm just a regular guy. No. Your friends don't know, but Rico knows. I hope I answered all your questions. Let's go. There we go. Y'all have a good night. Peace.
Red flashing lights by your side.